Greetings. I'm beginning to think I'm in the North Pole. Maybe it's because it's Christmas is coming. On that note, I thought, let's make something, for the holiday. How about we do one of these? And if I edit this right, you'll actually see what I'm talking about. If not, trust me, very simple project. So follow along. Okay, if you remember a while back, I bought a bunch of these pickets. They are, I want to check, they're 4-inch, so 3.5 in the real world. They're 6-footers. I let them dry out in the rafter here. And once again, I'm doing my Italian mode. They're not perfect at all. They have a lot of this in them. That's going to add to the character. And this one, I have this left over. It's a wood stain that did not work for the project I bought it for. But for this, I think it will. So, let's get set up. You can do this with hand tools, especially if you have a little miter box. We're going to use our Bauer miter saw. Not sponsored, but wish I was. Sorry. That was a shameless plug that wasn't even meant to be a plug. We're going to let me get you set up, and then I'll show you. Okay, I already trimmed the end of this off, but what we're going to do is set our saw at 30 degrees. Is 30 degrees perfect? Like, does it have, 30 degrees. If it's off, it doesn't matter. Then we're going to trim the end of our board at that 30 degrees. Okay? Then what I did is I installed a stop on the saw at 6 inches. So we're going to come over here and we're going to cut each piece at 6 inches like this. Watch. It's really important, and we all get lazy, to let that saw come to a stop, especially when you're up against a block. If you go to lift the saw, it's a good chance you're going to get kicked back and send a piece flying. So we're going to need 4 pieces that are this size, okay? And I'm very guilty of not waiting for the saw to stop. That's why I'm emphasizing it for you. And number 4. If you search online, there's probably 30 different variants of this particular project. So now we have our 4 pieces cut like that, all where the cuts are perpendicular, okay? Now we're going to turn our board, and we're going to cut one that's, these are parallel cuts. Wow, I can't believe I said that. Parallel to each other. That's the way to remember. Parallel here, parallel here. Now we're going to flip it and get one that's not quite perpendicular, but it's the opposite. Let me show you. And like that. Here. See? One like that. Now, we're going to take our stop. No measurement required. We're going to take a piece of our scrap, and we're going to increase the distance of our stop by the thickness of the wood we're using. So it doesn't matter, like these are not 3/4, even though they sell them as 3/4. We're just going to go the thickness of the wood and add that to our 6 inches. No measuring required. No 6.5, no 6 3. Let's, for curiosity's sake. Okay, you're going to move your saw the thickness of the wood, and you're going to do another one with the same angles on it as this one. It's the last one we cut. Only see how that caught in there just by with the saw off. So now we have 2 pieces, one longer than the other, and when we join them together, we get the top of our Christmas tree, nice and even. Because this one is longer than this one by the thickness of the wood. I am probably the worst at explaining this. So we're going to start there. We're going to glue and tack that, and throw the rest of it to... No, you know what? I lied. I'm going to give this a quick hand sand, and I'm going to color this one with my stain, my wood stain. I forgot. The last one I made, I didn't want to stain it once it was together. So let me get this set up and we'll stain it real quick, the pieces. Okay, we're not going to go through the whole staining process, but I should tell you, once we stain these and put them together, we're going to cut the shelf pieces and the bottom, and we're going to do that after it's put together to make life easier, but that does mean we are going to have to go back with a second staining portion of our program. And I'll show you that when we get to it as well. Although it's a lot like this. You rub the color on, you wipe the color off. Now remember, these are supposed to be rustic-y Christmas trees, so we want the wood to come through. So we're not looking for perfection in coverage. We're looking for even coverage though. And with me, who knows what we're gonna get. But I'm just gonna show you. Let me get this. Almost there. I like that. See how it brings out the... You can do this with acrylic paints. You can water them down and it will come out. This is probably what this is, some kind of acrylic paint, honestly. I don't even remember why I bought it. But anyway, you can do this a number of ways, and you don't have to do it at all like the one I showed you at the beginning. So we're gonna go through and do all our parts, and then I'll bring you back. Oh boy. Okay, while those were drying, I took one of the offcuts, the leftover, and I did another, and I just guesstimated the width on this. It doesn't matter, you know, it's the base of a tree, but I went ahead and stained it brown like a tree trunk. Go figure. So we'll tack that on the bottom when everything's done, but right now everything's drying, so I think we can let's take a break, because you know, why not? Okay, hopefully I didn't get too confusing on that, but we have our 4 pieces with the parallel cuts at 30 degrees and 6 inches. Then we had these 2. One was exactly the 6 inches, but if you look, we're no longer parallel, but to the long side, that's where our 6 inches is. And this is just 6 inches plus the width of the lumber you're using. And that's gonna be, we're just gonna nail that together and glue it. And here, let me show you that real quick. Again, these are not rocket science whatsoever. A little glue. If you're gonna put it outside, well, maybe a little more glue. I don't know. And we'll, hang on. Let me redirect you here. Woohoo! Can you see me? Yeah, you can. Let's see if I can put one of these in my finger. How about we don't? Now, we're going to take these, we're going to go 1 inch up, like that, and like that, glue and nailed. We're going to use 1 inch as a standard, and I'm just going to use this to mark it, because that's easy. And then we'll just cover that little mark when we glue the piece on and tack it in place, so we don't have to worry about a little graphite line there. Wouldn't want that. Okay, there we go. And let me grab a rag. Right there, I knew it was somewhere. I got a little bit of glue squeeze out. Again, because we're already stained, it's not the end of the world. So then we can throw a little glue within that 1 inch. And yes, you can be way more accurate and spread the glue out and all that stuff. But again, it doesn't, and the only thing you want to make sure is that that plane is parallel with that plane in case you want to add the shelves. And what I like to do is set it on my bench nice and flat, line up the line, then I know it's going to come together all even. Whoop. There we go. And the other side. Ta-da! See how it's starting to look like a tree? Let me do these two and then we'll get back and I'll show you the... Okay, we're all glued up there. Now we're just going to take this piece, go on the inside, and we're going to lightly mark it over here, roughly that angle, or with that angle. Get a cut. It's, go a little long, that's okay. Because you can always shorten it. Yeah, I think I need to take a little tiny bit off there. Now, normally I would tack this in right now, but we're going to try and do this plus the shelves all at once for staining purposes. No, you know what? I can stain this in place. Yeah. This won't be a problem to stain in place. It's just one. So let's go ahead and glue and tack that in, huh? And that way we can do our shelves. Because the shelves don't get glued, they don't get nailed. They're removable, so it gives you more options of what you do with your shelf. You see it? Are you seeing the vision here, y'all? Ta-da! I'll cut the shelves. We'll stain all the pieces. Oh, and at any time now you can mark your center and glue and tack the bottom on. Let me get the shelves though, because we're going to stain first. All right, we're back to this project because I think it's dry enough. I can put her together. Again, a quick whisk of glue. Line up some center marks. Grab our pin nailer. Let's reinstall our shelves. I don't know if anybody would want to take them out or even, but there we go, dusty. And it's done.